The following is brought to you by Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. TotalSeal.com. Hello and welcome to another edition of Hidden Horsepower. I'm Joe Castello, and we've got a very special episode, a championship episode of Hidden Horsepower. That's right. John DeFlorian in the Total Seal Camaro wins Johnson's Horsepower Garage Mountain Motor Pro Stock. And so Keith Jones and I, we have been talking about having John on the show at some point, regardless. And as it was getting down to the wire, he's getting closer and closer to locking down a championship. I kind of thought, like, let's wait. And we got lucky, and he locked it down. What do you think of that, Keith?
Oh, I think it's awesome. But I think there's, like any motorsport, any racing that we're doing, there is a certain part of it that is luck. There is no doubt about it. But I think a big part of it was their due diligence, their tenaciousness, ability to set up the car, drive that car, race that car. Luck always factors in. But, you look at the guys like this. Let's say, is Greg Anderson lucky, or is he just that good?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the answer is both, and you make your own luck, and sometimes luck goes against you and all of those factors. But John won 4 of 8 races, 50% win total on the 8-race schedule in the NHRA. Amazing, Keith. And
that's what I'm saying. I think there's a little bit more to it than luck.
Yes. And the last race was a wild race at World Wide Technology Raceway, the Napa Midwest Nationals. John almost crashed. He almost crashed the car that he built. For those that don't know, of course, Total Seal is the sponsor, but John is a shop foreman at Jerry Haas Race Cars. So is there someone who knows more about what's going on, both public and private, in the world of pro stock than John DeFlorian? I don't know. Let's bring him on. Joining us now, Mountain Motor Pro Stock World Champion, John DeFlorian. What's up, John? How are you?
Hey, I'm living my dream right now, buddy. I am fantastic. I don't want it to end.
Yeah. I can imagine, right? You were a nervous wreck, though, after Charlotte, because all you had to do was beat Vincent Nobile's second round, and you're the champ. Instead, you had identical reaction times. You lost by a couple of thou, and you had to wait an additional week for the race to conclude in St. Louis. But isn't that what you wanted the whole time?
Well, if you wrote the story, that's the way you would write it, and it would be fiction, because there's no way that can really happen. That can't be reality. And in our case, we were very fortunate, very blessed, and very lucky, and it worked out that way. So you're right. But I can tell you one thing, driving out of Charlotte on Sunday night, I was already a wreck. My nerves were already going crazy. I knew what was on the table. I knew coming back home what was going to be as far as friends and family and all the people here. So I knew it was going to be pretty intense, but it wound up being more intense than I even expected to be, especially with Friday night's qualifying efforts.
Well, let's talk about that. I referenced it, and I want to focus on St. Louis, but then I kind of want to go back to the schedule. I want to talk a little bit about Mountain Motor Pro Stock. I want to talk a little bit about these engines and how much power they make and all of those things. But you did almost crash your race car. I saw both sides of it.
Yeah, I seen something I didn't want to see myself, and that was the wall. It got out of shape quick and really whipped around on me, and I was headed right for the wall. And it's like, oh, geez, not here of all places. Let's not have this happen. And fortunately, we were able to get the car under handle and not get into the wall, and then get back to the pits and say, okay, we breathe a sigh of relief. Now let's figure out what's going on.
Keith, got a question for John DeFlorian?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of them, but good job on reeling it back in, John. I didn't see it, but I heard it, and they were just, I don't think it was Joe on the mic at the moment, but it was like, wow, whoa, whoa, whoa. So whatever it was, hell of a job reeling it in. But I will say this, of all the places that something like that could happen, we don't want it to happen, but it could. Hey, at least it's in your own backyard. You can whip that thing back to the shop, get it fixed, and get it right back.
Yeah, that would be the intent anyway, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. Like I say, you don't want that to happen, but if it's going to happen, what a better place to do it.
True.
But the questions, I got a whole pile of questions, but this is Hidden Horsepower. We're generally talking about engine technology. We're generally talking about those things. I know you guys service the car at the track, you maintain the car, you tune the car, but I'm gonna kind of switch gears, because we're not talking about like some of these types of parts. Chassis wise, John, 500 inch, 800 inch. What are you doing different when you're building that car?
Well, everybody be very surprised how similar these two cars are. An 800-inch car and a 500-inch car are nearly identical. There's a few little things that we do different because it's an 800-inch car, but the basics of the chassis in the car is the same.
Okay.
Interesting. So at the start of the season, John, you had dreams and hopes of winning the championship, and you were rewarded at the very first race with a little struggle. Tell us about that.
Yeah, more than a little struggle. It was a disaster. We go to the first race, just got the engine back from being freshened up, thought we're ready to go for the beginning of the season, and we go out there in the first round of competition against Brad Waddle, and in fifth gear, about 8,000 RPM, it broke the crankshaft. And with that happening, what the devastation in the engine would be, it was tremendous. And I thought it was over for me this year. I just didn't see any way of recovering from that. If it wasn't for John Kaase and his guys down there and him, there's no way it would have happened. So he was at the track, and he's a calm, cool, collected guy you ever want to meet. And I'm obviously pretty distraught. And he's like, well, John, let's just get the motor out of the car and just bring it over to the shop and drop it off. And they worked their tails off. He busted his ass to get that thing done and have it back together for the next race, which was Epping. And that was only in a few weeks. So if they didn't do what they did, there was no chance of it. And he absolutely resurrected the engine because it was destroyed. I mean, it was bad hurt. But if they didn't get that done, we wouldn't have been where we were on this past Sunday.
You drove over the road, and it is my understanding that he told you, like, man, just bring it. And you're like, no, it's over. And he like kind of calmed you down.
He did. He absolutely did. Because at that point, I was no position to be fixing the motor. Being that there was beginning of the season, and we just spent a ton of money on all the things we had to do to get the year started. And he said, well, let's just get it out, get it over to me, and let me take a look, and we'll get it figured out. And he did just that. He got everything squared away, fixed, back on the dyno, back good. And I got her back in the car, and I literally had, we drove all night down to get it. It was a lot of craziness, but got back, put it in the car, loaded everything up, and literally left from here to go to Epping. For me, that's about 23 hours of actual seat time driving the truck and trailer to get there. And we never had any time to stop or test, or I never even started it. Didn't start it till we got to Epping. Wow. So that's just a testament to Kaase and their abilities.
Well,
and
wouldn't it be cool, Keith? Wouldn't it be cool if we could hear John Kaase's version of this story?
I'd love to hear John Kaase's version.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could hear John Kaase's version of this story? John, we've got John Kaase is joining to surprise you for your world championship.
Oh,
John,
my.
Can you hear us, John?
I hear you great. Yep.
Has he said anything that is inaccurate to this point, John?
No, it's a good thing he didn't know I was on here, so at least he didn't talk bad about us. But, I guess if there's anything we're really good at, it's fixing stuff that can't be fixed. And I think myself, I've been pretty good at that since I was about 13. It's just one of those deals. If you grow up without all the right tools and you don't have everything you need, so you learn how to make stuff work that you have, and on John's deal, it broke the crank at the back. It fortunately didn't break any rods, but it tore the motor up pretty good. But it killed the main caps and the back main saddles and the second main saddle in the block and all that. It just wiped it out. And so we had to put all new main caps on it. And on the Chevys, it's the first time I really had to do that myself, I think. But when you have a blank cap, it's really hard to machine all those areas around the thrust and the seal and stuff. And so I had to make some tools for it. But, we were up to the task, and we knew how much time we had. And it was one of those deals, if everything stayed right, we were going to put it together tomorrow, we're going to run it that night, and he's coming to get it. And, it's one of those deals where everything had to fall into place exactly time-wise for him to get to his race. And, you got to factor in the travel time. And it was the farthest race of the year away, of course. So, that made it tougher. But, we love John to death, but we would have done it for any of our guys. If they're in a bind and we have time, we'll do whatever it takes to fix one. But the whole time you're working on it, it's one of those things like, man, it sure would be cool if he could take this thing, go out and win, because you want them to have good luck with it, and you want to see all the people on the team jumping up and down on the start line after he got the win light on in the final, stuff like that. And I had no idea that he would have won 3 in a row with it and then win the championship and won the last race. So, it really performed well, maybe almost better than it used to. And that engine originally started out, with another team, and the guy told me the other day he thinks that thing might be eligible for Social Security now. The whole motor. But the good thing about these engines is they last a long time. The other good thing is there hasn't been a huge money team that came in and spent trillions of dollars to try and go a little bit quicker, and we can still be competitive with cars that are got a few years on them and engines that have a few years on them, and they can run up front and win, and it's kind of cool. And still also you can win. You can win with a driver like John Montecalvo won last weekend at the one NHRA race. He did a great job of driving. He's 74 years old, and John DeFlorian here, he's running against guys that are 30 years younger sometimes, and you can still go out and perform your best, and you can cut a light with them and everything else. You can still win. So it's one of the sports in auto racing that you can still win, when you're getting older. That's kind of cool.
I love it. John, what do you think about all that? DeFlorian. Champ John.
You know what? I mean, I agree with John completely. And as he talked about the engine, he was right. I mean, it was destroyed. It was really, really bad. And I don't know that very many people could have saved it. I think it took a John Kaase to save the motor and to get it back. Not only just keep in mind, not only just get it back together, but make it to where it can perform at top level, which it did. It went out, and as John mentioned, it may be better now than it had been for at least along the most recent years. And that's a true testament to their ability to be able to make that happen. And as he mentioned, that's a very old engine. It's probably eligible for some retirement, actually. So no, it's a very good piece. But all that goes to the testament of what John and his ability is to make that stuff happen, and all of his guys down there. He's got a great shop down there and a great group of guys, and they do really care about their customers. And I'm a testament to that. You can see what they did for me.
Keith Jones, question for John or John?
Well, I have a question for John Kaase and a comment for the group. Just, it's one of the things you see about the racing community that, when John DeFlorian's engine broke and they got it to John Kaase's shop, the guys did whatever it took to get it done. Years ago, I can speak to, Matt's crash in Denver, and, that car back to the shop, front clipped, done, and back on the racetrack by that Friday. How this community comes together, because they could be your competitors, these are the guys you're racing against, but yet you're in need. That's what matters. And these guys are pulling all-nighters to get this stuff done. What other industry does this? I mean, this is the passion of racing. But the question for John Kaase, John, we talked about John D's engine being older, it's ready to go up for retirement. It's looking for that check. It's looking for a little bit of Medicaid here. Looking at your mountain motor program, has there been much involvement? Like you say, the guys with the unlimited funding, haven't come in and completely blown this thing out of the water where nobody can afford it. What kind of evolution has there been in that engine since the time it was first done?
Well, it's kind of good and bad. It's a little bit embarrassing that we're not really way quicker than we used to be, but a little bit of it is, it seems like the tracks are slightly different. The 60 foots aren't there where they used to be years ago, and part of that's just the way that the tracks are prepped, I think. But the engines are a little better than they used to be, but it's just like on the 500-inch Pro Stock stuff. Man, when you get to a certain point and it's making a certain horsepower per inch, it's really hard to get it better. And it's not that it's maxed out, but it's pretty much maxed out for what we know to do. And then you can work on something a long time and pick the power up at the very top end of the power range, and you think, oh man, this is great, and you go out and the car runs slower. So a lot of times what you do is you trade power around. You say, well, I'll take it away from 7,000 and add it to 8. Well, that sounds great until you go around the car and it doesn't go anywhere. So, we try all kinds of things, but sometimes we have to look at stuff that we did 20 years ago and say, well, we might have to go back to that. So it's just kind of the hand we're dealt, and there's a lot of parts flying around that motor. It's it's got a big stroke and stuff, and you're on to 80, 83, 8,500. There's probably nothing that sees that much piston speed in any engine, and it's just a whole different animal. So it's hard to control, and we're really the most power that you'll have at a racetrack with a regular clutch. There's some funny cars and some stuff, they have a clutch, they call it, but it's really an automatic clutch. They stomp the thing down and the centrifugal force throws their foot off the pedal. But ours are just like a clutch that was in any hot rod from back in the 60s. You rev it up in the starting line, you drop the clutch as hard as you can. And 500-inch Pro Stock is like that, but it's also a little over 800 foot-pounds, where ours they're close to 1,500. So we're almost twice the torque at the RPM that they leave at. So, it's a nightmare for these guys working on the cars. They can never hit that thing as hard on the starting line as they'd like to. It's like they're teeing off on a par 5 with a 7-iron. Really, it is. They just you go into the track and it's pretty good, and so then from then on you're deciding how much you're going to lay up when you leave the starting line, because you cannot hit it as hard as you want to.
Wow.
That
A
is
lot of
why.
people don't know that, but you're leaving it. Sometimes we drop the clutch at 4,800 RPM or lower.
Wow.
That's not much more of an idle. But if you rev it up, there's no way you could ever rev one up to $6,000, drop the clutch, and it would go anywhere. It wouldn't get to the 3 feet out. So they have to figure out. It's a real man. It's like a chess game for these guys. The temperature drops 10 degrees while they're sitting in the staging lanes. Everything about the car changes, right, Don?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The starting line RPM, some of that stuff, or how much weight's on the clutch. It just 10 or 15 degrees of air temperature changes how the car is going to leave and how much power it's got and what you can do with it. The sun gets off the track, that's one thing. All of a sudden the air drops in air temp, the motor's got more power. And then all of a sudden the motor's got more power and it's dark and the track's better, it's going to go left. Right, John?
Yep, that's right.
John went left, John went right. We saw both sides of his car. I'm sure the folks at Total Seal were very happy.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
They got a lot of advertising that day. Yeah.
John Kaase, thank you for joining us.
You bet.
I appreciate you jumping on here real quick. I don't want to keep you all day. We'll do another one, though. Keith Jones wants to do a total debrief on Mountain Motor 2025 when you've got some time.
Absolutely.
You guys. Right. Proud of you, John.
Thank you, John. Appreciate everything you do for me.
You bet. Bye.
Thank you, buddy. I'll see you.
John Kaase, genuine legend up there. John DeFlorian, is it safe to say, I'm a big believer in energy and cosmic stuff, that if you don't break the crank, then maybe you don't win the championship because you don't refresh the engine, et cetera, and so on? Is that a possible flow?
It is a possibility. You just never know how things are going to go. But breaking a crankshaft is definitely not a thing you had planned. However, it changed a whole lot of things. There's other things behind the scenes that people don't even realize or don't know. But when we broke the crankshaft, we also broke the clutch, which ultimately put us in a situation where we had to get a new clutch, which we did. Fortunately, Pat from Ram came through with the clutch for us when we got to Bristol. And because when we went to Epi, we had broke the clutch when the engine broke. We put the backup in there and found out it was also compromised. So we were sitting there early with no clutch, and we rolled into Bristol with a brand new clutch. So there's a lot of things that took place because of the engine breaking that caused us to do some stuff that we didn't plan on, which was one of those things was getting a clutch, and it really did change the program a whole bunch too. Made it a whole lot better.
There it is. So I'm going to go with it. Now, you remember the show, This Is Your Life? It's an old timey show. Remember that?
Oh,
This is Your Life? Yeah. This is your championship. John DeFlorian. Look who also wants to jump in and say congratulations.
Oh,
hey, Chad, how are you?
Matt, what do you know, buddy?
Oh, man, I just wanted to come on here and say congratulations to the champ again.
Man, I've said it many times and I'll say it again. If, Matt Hartford and Total Seal doesn't come on board when they did last year, we wouldn't have been racing. And that's a fact. I say it, but it's really the truth. His support has made all the difference in us being able to not only go out and race, but be able to have a few things that we didn't have before that we needed. And it made all the difference in this championship. I can tell you right now, I don't think we would have won the championship. I know we wouldn't have without Matt's help because we wouldn't even been out there. So I can never thank Matt and Total Seal enough. They've been unbelievable. Matt and I have been friends for many, many years. We go way, way back. And so it's great to have a friend and a buddy and a supporter like him to be a part of our program. I can't thank him enough.
You know, John actually, John and his team and all of Jerry's team would have built the car that I won the championship in 2002 with John Lingenfelder. So, you know, I've been in Haas cars for a long time, and I'm telling you, I've driven a couple other brands, but I'm loyal to Jerry Haas and to the Jerry Haas cars and John's team. And when we built that last car a few years ago, let me tell you, they went above and beyond. And you know, for Total Seal to be able to step up and help somebody who helps everybody, that we were proud to do it. You know, I've met a lot of people in my life, and I can honestly say I've never met one person that even has a neutral feeling towards John, let alone a negative one. Everybody has got nothing but positive comments and energy towards John. I mean, John's the type of guy, you know, you're the type of guy, pal, that we want to be associated with.
Well, as I said before, I appreciate that very much. I'm very humbled by that. I can never thank you enough for everything you've done, and you continue to do for me. I'm humbled by that. I'm just a regular little working guy, but have the support from Total Seal and from Matt. Never could thank you enough, buddy. You mean the world to me. You don't even know it.
Over 750 chassis, he told me, Matt, that he's worked on. Keith, you as well, because, you know, we've got to speak with John a couple of times now up on the stage at the NHRA after he won both Total Seal Camaros in the final round out there in St. Louis as well. That's a pretty good, that's not a positive mention, huh?
Oh man, I wanted so bad to win. I always want to win, but that would have been just awesome to park both those cars together in the winner's circle. And look, you know, we made a really good run in the final, especially out of the right lane. It was close. You know, we've lost some races, and I'm really hard on myself when we do. This is not one of them. I drove decent all day. You know, maybe I could have drove a little bit better, but we made a really killer run out of the right lane to run within 100th of them. It was his day, and I give it to him. But if we could have won and put both nose to nose, put those two cars together, that would have been. It would have been the icing on the cake for me, but we didn't. And John won. That made my weekend. I was jumping up and down on the starting line when Nobile, you know, won, which meant that John won the championship. And I walked back to his car and I said, "Hey, champ, you know, this and that." And he had tears in his eyes. And I looked at him and said, "All right, knock it off. Focus. You got to win this round." So.
And he did too. He did tell me that, and it took that to get me slapped around.
Oh yeah, you were out of your zone.
Yeah, I was definitely out of my zone. Yeah, that's for sure, to say the least.
Well, what was really awesome to be out there is that we had not only Keith was out there with us that weekend, and Ben and Scott. So we had three of the other guys from Total Seal out there to see John win the championship, and of course, you know, Ed Keebler from Rottler was there. It was great to have, you know, a big part of our own Total Seal team there to really see it and support it.
Absolutely. What about that, Keith? What was your perspective of all of this? You know, as the guy who's given all kinds of advice to everybody, and the critical moments of championship drag racing happening right before you. What was your experience for all that?
Oh, I'm always excited to be there. I'd go to every race if I could. Time doesn't allow to go to all of them, but no, I love coming to the events. I love doing the trackside tech talks for those who haven't come by one. But next year's coming.
They were crowded. It looked like. I walked by a couple times. Looked like you had a good crowd.
Oh, we had great turnouts both days, but hey, we can always do more. So I appreciate Matt's support and everybody's support. Getting us out there to do that. But I'll always love being at the races. Always love going and talking to just talking to people. Whether they're a professional racer or a sportsman. Just what can we do? What we as a community at Total Seal help to elevate your game. What can we do to make you better? And, just absolutely love that. And just love being involved, when, John locking things up and Matt, just almost getting it. My God, I was like, it was like, he ran so well. I'll say this. I want to know what the magic is that Greg has, because he just always finds that tiny bit more. Matt and the team, they work so hard. it was a picture weekend. I mean, they were just right there. They were just there. They fought that racetrack. I saw what that place was doing, how hard it was to get a car to go straight down.
John knows. John built the car. John, what's up with that chassis? Michael Heiner used to have that chassis, and he said that was like, there's always there's a special carburetor that's a little quicker than everything. There's always the motorcycle guys say the magic tire. That he says that's the magic chassis. What's up with that?
Well, I think it's magic because they have been working with it for so long. They really know it extremely well. And that makes a big difference. Just as, Matt with the car he has, they make so many runs. They know those cars like the back of their hands, and they got so much logged information. It helps them tremendously. And so I think that's really more of the key of it.
And I think John's right about that. I mean, you can make any car work, and you can make any brand of car work. They just take something different. But the hard thing for me is that we have a car sitting in John's and Jerry Haas's shop right now, and our truck and trailer sitting in their parking lot. The car that is sitting inside the shop is faster than the car that's sitting in my trailer. I can guarantee you that by corrected numbers. The problem is that we don't have a logbook as deep as the one that's sitting in the trailer. And so when we go and we think we've got something figured out, then it throws us a bone and we lose first round, or we end up not qualifying where we should have. We fought that all through 2024 till I finally threw up a white flag, and my wife was basically going to divorce me if I didn't throw up the white flag and drag out our old car. It was, and Adam and Jerry went and got it the Monday night after Indy last year and drug it back, and we tested on Tuesday. But we just know the car that we're in so well right now. It's hard unless you have the time and money to go test all the time and get a car up to speed. That's why Greg's car is so good. They've got so many runs on it. Plus, Heiner and Kramer had so many runs on it. There's so much data on that car. I'm not saying it's their oldest car in their fleet, but it's definitely one of the ones with the most runs on it. And they don't make a lot of mistakes with that car, where the other ones will go up and, like you'll see maybe first round, Cody struggled in first round. Well, Greg definitely didn't struggle in first round. It's not like you have different people or, it's not a different brand chassis or different tire combinations or different clutch combinations or ratios or different people. There's something about that combination in a different car that's different. So it's time, that's all it comes down to.
Well, John drove that car, right? Was it the new one that he drove, or he drove the new one?
He drove the new one. Yes. And I mean, he got his first NHRA 500-inch win in that car, first round against one of the other brand cars.
Yeah, something that I'll never, ever, ever forget. That was astounding. Highlighted my career to be able to even have the opportunity to get in a 5-inch car. I actually questioned Matt's sanity when he called me to ask me if I want to drive it. I go, Matt, I haven't driven an NHRA car since like 1990. I said, you really need to think about this. And he insisted, and I'm glad that he did, because I was absolutely the beneficiary of getting to do that. Even though that Friday we looked pretty bad at Chicago, but then Saturday we looked like $1 million, and that set us up for Sunday. And who would have ever thought Sunday would have gone like it did? It's a memory I'll never forget. It was just off the chart.
I remember John got a little piece of my crew chief on that Friday night that I get a lot. Eddie goes to him, "What are you looking at? Do you not see the shift light?"
Yeah. What were you looking at, John?
I was actually looking at the ceiling of the car. I forgot to adjust the head pad. As embarrassing as that is to say, but forgot to adjust the head pad. So when I left the starting line, my head was whipping back and forth every time I was shifting. So I didn't see the shift light. I was just pushing gears, and we had to get our act together on Saturday. And fortunately, it did go that way. But it was pretty comical.
All right, Keith and Matt, here's the deal: when someone wins a world championship, they are in great demand. And Mr. DeFlorian is in demand. He's going on to his next big interview right after he concludes this one. So let's do a final thought with him and let him go do his multimedia experience. And then maybe we could talk about him for just 2 minutes after he's gone. Okay. And then we'll wrap this show up. But final thought
about him. Great.
Well, right. Isn't that going to be fun? How much we love the guy. Starting off with Matt, anything you want to say to John or about John? Well, we still have him.
No, I just want to say seriously, John, congratulations to you, your wife, your entire family, your entire zoo that you take with you. There's no one more deserving of winning this championship than you. And myself personally, our entire racing team, the entire team at Total Seal, we could not be more proud to be affiliated with you than what we are. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Matt. And I can never thank you enough for everything you've done for me. I truly, truly appreciate it. And it's been an honor to have Total Seal on the side of my car. And I plan on being there forever.
Perfect.
Thank you, man.
Let's hope we get Johnson's Horsepower Garage Mountain Motor Pro Stock back somehow in 2026. Keith Jones, final thought for John before we let him go do his myriad of other media.
It's a thought and a quick comment. I mean, you look at guys like John, you look at guys like Matt, and I can't speak to all of John's crew members. I don't know them all personally, but to speak to John's guys, Matt's guys, Amber, Adam, Eddie, how hard these people work. It is just, I mean, you got to think about it. They're not only racing, they're testing while they're racing. They don't have 20 people behind them back at the shop. These guys work so hard to do what they do. I couldn't be prouder of both of them for doing everything they do and how hard they do it. It's just, it's an eat, sleep, breathe thing. And for both cars, and I got to say for John D's car, man, I love that paint.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, it's gorgeous. And my final thought, John, before we let you go is, and Matt, you'll probably know this. One of the first times we had Mountain Motor Pro Stock at the NHRA, we don't know these guys, right? We want to educate the fans, but it's also a little weird because like Mountain Motor Pro Stock, is it going to take away from 500 cubic inch Pro Stock? What's the deal? And John asked Nikki and I to come over and he welcomed us into his pit. And he's like, if you want to know anything, we're like, yeah, we want to know. And we did a feature. Remember that, John? You walked us all around your car and he explained the differences, and he didn't do it in a way that was in any way like these are better. It was just like, these are different. And to me, it disarmed the whole thing. And it was like, oh man, these are the kind of people that are coming into NHRA with Mountain Motor Pro Stock. And I think it made everybody feel like this is going to be great. And it really has been. So John, congratulations. Thank you for that. Being, the person you are, the kindness and the willingness to do whatever craziness we ask you to. You earned this championship. 4 of 8 wins, Hartford. The guy won 50% of the season. It's amazing.
Man, he's incredible. When I grow up, I want to be like John.
You're getting there, Hartford. You're getting there. All right, John.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate everything. Thank you.
Off to your next thing. We're kicking you out. There we go.
Okay, buddy. I'll see you.
John DeFlorian with us here on Hidden Horsepower. How about that? Now he's got to go do other interviews, guys. He's doing that.
Hang on. His boss is texting me right now, probably wanting to know why John isn't in the shop. And
what, Haas? Don't tell him, man.
I'm not telling him.
Don't tell him.
I'm not telling Jerry.
Don't tell Jerry.
He was filling the water tanks on my rig, so he was letting me know that it was filled.
I went to a nice, wonderful meal at Porter's with Jerry on Thursday night. It was great. It's like, he's like, we're going to go to Porter's. I was like, that's great. My hotel is there. So it was amazing. All right. So while we got you, Hartford and Keith, this is the wind down wrap up section. This is just a celebration of John's championship for me. I'm glad Kaase got on there, Keith. You want to hear something, Hartford? Keith Jones is blowing the surprise right in front of John DeFlorian. And I'm like, dude, don't tell him it's going to be a surprise. But it's my fault. I didn't tell you that I had secured Kaase to come on.
Well, thank God I didn't completely blow it.
You didn't.
I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to talk to him.
And we'll get him back. But a really big deal. He was nervous. He was riddled with nerves after Charlotte, but he came through in the clutch.
Yeah, I'm telling you, John is just such a great guy. Like I said, we go way back, and we've done a lot of stuff. Obviously, I've done a lot of stuff at Jerry Haas's shop over the years, and with Jerry and with John, and it's such a great honor for Total Seal to be involved with him. It's great to have our name out there. When you got somebody that's representing you in such a professional manner, how can you not want to be involved with him? And to win 4 races and win the championship for him, that's just, man, I don't think it's really set in yet to him. I really don't. I think it's going to take a little while. He's still so high up on cloud 9, it hasn't really set in.
I agree. No, I agree. Like, how do you understand that you've become permanent part of drag racing history? Mountain Motor Pro Stock world champion. Trust me, I talked to the Placino family after it was over, and they were gutted. They just won last year. There was no like, well, we won last year, so it's okay. They were gutted. Johnny said, he goes, everything that could have went wrong with us this year went wrong. It just didn't come together. They were both like, you could see it, like they were so gutted. And that's what, to your point, Keith, I've been saying it a lot lately because I've been doing more trying to go racing myself. It's not drag racing. It's drag working. It's just work. It's nonstop work to like every level of it. Just to get to the track is a lot of work. And the fun factor is so little, but it is very fun.
I'll say it's like golf. It takes that one good shot and it keeps you coming back.
Keeps you coming back for another year, right? Like, how did I do that? I just got to do it again. Okay, Hartford, while we got you on Hidden Horsepower, you don't always come on here.
I haven't been on in a long time.
I know. Well, we like to, we don't want to make it like the Hartford show. It's just, there's the idea that this is a technology show and everything.
Keith signs more autographs at the track than I do now.
No.
He does have a great shirt on right there, guys. And if you're at home and you want that shirt, that's available at Total Seal.
It is available. We do have them, but I'll go back to John D's deal. Think about it. Now he's got a number 1 on that car. There's expectations. He's got a target on his back. So he thought he had pressure before. Wait till 2026.
Yeah. I think he's going to be ready for it. He's really good in that car. They do a great job making decisions. He's got really good power. I do think that the class is going to get more competitive. I think there's going to be more cars coming in. Matter of fact, I know there's more cars coming into the mountain motor class, regardless of what platform they're going to race at. Obviously there's already a few. There's going to be another one, but we'll see how that all shakes out. But when the cars all get together and you get 12 of them for an 8-car field, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough qualifying. It's going to be tough racing.
Absolutely. What about Total Seal? I know there's, Total Seal Aerospace. There's all kinds of good stuff going on. Is there anything that the Hidden Horsepower audience needs to know about? Keith and I will be at PRI. It's good.
Awesome.
Good time. Will you be at PRI?
No.
Okay. You don't have to be at PRI. Keith and I, we've got this. It's been great the past couple of years without you.
What just says it must be public information because Matt and I have a huge mutual friend named London, and London's texting me last night wanting to know why you're not going to be at PRI.
Oh, yeah. This kid, the engine kid.
Yeah, he is.
No, look, when you have a great team, you don't always have to be there supervising what they're doing. These guys, our sales team and our technical team and our engineering team, they're phenomenal. They have it handled like I'm in the way. It used to be where, Keith and I would go to PRI and everybody only talked to the two of us years and years ago. And then obviously, Kevin came on board and everybody wanted to talk to him as well. And then it just, kind of went through. Now with, just across the board, our team that's there, six or seven guys there, plus you, Joe, I don't need to be there. I'm in their way. And I'm just going to cost us money with, food and drink. So it's probably better that I stay here and work.
Yeah, it's better. It's better for your health at home.
Probably.
The truth is, my statement back to London was that, Matt trusts us to do the right thing. We're there to help grow the company, represent the company. And somebody's got to be back here to make sure the wheels don't fall off, which doesn't happen. There's great people here that do a fantastic job. But, overall, Matt's looking at this whole thing. He's got to look at everything from what we're doing to what they're doing, manufacturing, shipping, receiving, all of it. There's got to be, what I'll call the conductor of the orchestra. And that's
you like trains. I know that. So
yeah. Conductor of train, conductor of orchestra. Matt, thanks for jumping on here with John. Obviously I know the relationship, and we wanted to do something special for this guy because he's unnaturally kind. I think, right? Like when I'm from Miami, when someone's super nice, it's like, yeah, what's the angle, right? And with him, there's no angle.
There isn't. I mean,
angle.
It's not that he's even super nice. He's just real. And I meant what I said. I've never found anybody to even have a neutral comment about him, let alone negative. Yeah. Everybody is positive about him. It's when you say his name, no matter who you say it to, they're like, oh, I love that guy. And I've never met anybody in my life that's got that type of reputation.
No, it's rare. It's rare. Good guy. And thank you for helping cement this championship for him. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. And Keith, you going to get to work or what are you doing?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Can we get Keith some like decorations on his wall there, Hartford? I mean, at least you got the blinds. Like, look at this guy.
Hey, I got the important, man. I've got cylinders, rings I'm working on, KTMs. I mean, I got.
How about a picture, man? How about like one of those National Dragster covers? Something up there. I mean, like we're doing a show here. Look.
Yeah, I mean, so he's across the street in our sales office. So I might come over tomorrow morning just to see what's going on. So.
Yeah, there you go.
He's going to be coming in with a can of spray paint and do up the walls.
There it is. Do it up. All right, Matt Hartford, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks, Keith.
There he goes, Matt Hartford, out of here. Good job. Third in the points, NHRA. And now it's just us. Now it is just us, Keith. Final thoughts. If someone wants to get a hold of you, clearly this is all an educational process for people to learn about Ring Seal. This year, we've had some celebrity engine builders. We're definitely going to dive back in with John. We've got appointments with some of the greats. But in the meantime, if someone's working on an engine, they got a question, where do they get a hold of you?
Just reach out to us on the website, totalseal.com. You can get a hold of myself. There's other guys here, August, Matt, Alan, Kevin. We've got a whole group of guys here that, we'll say between all of us, we've got quite a bit of experience and been doing this for quite some time. So, and we work, like we said, as a collective. If I don't know the answer, reach out to one of the other guys. If they don't know the answer, they reach out to me, and back and forth. We work as a collective. So always trying to improve this, but totalseal.com, check us out. You call us 800-874-2753. Glad to answer any question we can.
And it's just that simple. And, if I'm racing, I want to be involved with people that, like what we just saw, that camaraderie, it's so hard to just get to the track, which I'm learning. So hard to just get to the track. Speaking of which, Keith, FYI, bringing Project Pontiac out, double divisional in Rockingham in a couple of weeks. And Excellent. So I'll give you a full report. I don't know if we'll do another show between now and then. So Project Pontiac hitting the track once again.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. And I know you're going to do well. Love to keep me posted. Send me pictures. I want to know it all. We'll get you up to speed. All right, there goes Keith Jones, the Director of Technical Sales from Total Seal Piston Rings. Thank you very much, Keith. And I am Joe Castello. I also work for the National Hot Rod Association as one of the track announcers, and I do a show called WFO Radio, where we interview drag racers. If you'd like to hear the audio only of this show, you can scan the QR code that is in the upper corner of the screen as we speak. That's going to take you to the Spotify feed. Or at least so they say it will. Spotify is one of the great places to get audio only. Of course, there's Apple Podcasts, there's Spotify, there's SoundCloud. You can get Hidden Horsepower in countless places. We have the YouTube channel. There's video of all of this as well. But the bottom line is not everybody can be looking at a screen when they consume their content. And so we've got a whole feed of great interviews of Hidden Horsepower. But also, we ask you to subscribe, click the bell. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment. We appreciate you greatly. And there's more to come. We will be at PRI. It's coming soon, quicker than you think. PRI is coming up sooner than you think. Congratulations, once again, world champion, John DeFlorian.